Hey, yeah, hey, it's the boat crew, and we always winning. Hey, go against us, I don't recommend it. Hey, it's the boat crew, best up in the business. It's the boat crew, reppin' for the city. Mackin' on and off the field like Khalil. They hate on us cause we keep it too real. I'm talking smack like Phil Rivers in the field. Oh, you mad again cause we kept it real? Why you mad? Hey, I'm talking smack, I feel like Uncle Dave. Hey, I bring the pain, I feel like Derwin James. I could run and gun, I feel like Herbo down the lane. I feel like LT the way I'm stiff arming these lanes. We just wanna win, we just wanna win, yeah. Ay, we just wanna win, we just wanna win, ay. Putting on for the city, putting on for the city. We just wanna win, we just wanna win, yeah.
Man, what just happened there? I didn't even know we had an opening. Am I the only guy that didn't know we had an opening?
Yeah, you're the only one.
That was awesome. That was cool. Who did that?
Sebi OG. He's a friend of mine. He listens to the show. And that's what you get for not looking at your text messages. Me and Mario knew what was going on. Yeah. My mom in the background for some reason. Move out of the way.
Move out of the way.
Get out of the way. Good God.
Uncle Lloyd?
Yeah,
what the hell? What's going on in that family?
But yeah, no, he did that for us in one day. I hope you guys like that. I did the editing in the video, and obviously he did the rapping. So what did you think? That was your first look at it.
Dude, that was cool. That was cool.
Can I hear more music from him? Because he's got a great voice.
Oh, yeah.
Big rap fan.
Sebi OG. I'll put in the chat right here. Check out his music. Really good dude. Known him for a long time.
Let's go.
Dude, that was impressive. There you go. That was pretty cool. And it's funny. I almost said to Mario right before Josh joined the square, hey, there's so many people asking for an opening. And I was almost said, F those people. Dude, that's awesome. Appreciate that. That was cool. All right. So look, special draft edition show. Dave Pele, Josh Pele, Mario Heron. We all know the first round's over. We've been talking about it for months now on what was going to happen in the first round. So the picks went through. If you want to know who lost, okay, on this whole thing, we all actually tied with 7 because of what the Eagles getting Campbell from Alabama at the end put me in a good spot. Otherwise, I would have been the loser right there. Okay, I would have said, "Oh, I guess I'm eating about 15 hot dogs," but we all ended up with 7, which isn't terrible. I hate to say it, we goof on Kuiper all the time. Kuiper did okay today. He did okay. So forget that. Everyone wants to talk about what the Chargers did in the draft. Okay, we'll get into some of this other things that happened with other teams. So let's start with the Chargers because so many people have been great right here in the comments. You guys have been sitting around waiting for pick 32 to come through. Omarion Hampton from North Carolina, running back, goes to the Chargers. So a couple different things. I'll just start real quick, Mario, because in case you haven't realized, the show is we talk Alabama a lot because Josh and I obviously huge Alabama fans. Josh actually wore the Crimson Tide uniform. I'm actually just been a fan longer than Josh has been alive, but we always root for Alabama guys, the two of us. The one thing we didn't know we had in common when we started the show in 2022, all 3 of us are big North Carolina fans, which is kind of funny. We didn't know. Thank goodness Mario's not a Duke fan. Like, that really would have sucked. The fact that Mario likes North Carolina and he grew up in Indiana, I mean, that couldn't have been easy. The idea that Josh and I are on the West Coast and we're North Carolina fans is pretty cool. So Hampton was one of those guys. There are 2 guys in this draft I really didn't want to hear their name called by other teams. I really didn't want to hear Tyler Warren's name being called by another team. And I didn't want to hear Hampton's name being called by another team. And there's certain teams in this league that I really hate. I really hate everybody right in the AFC West, but I really hate the Dallas Cowboys too. And I did not want Hampton going to the Cowboys. And there was a big possibility that Hampton was going to go to the Cowboys. And so when the Cowboys didn't get him, guys, I didn't think the Chargers were going to go that direction until right before I text you guys. I don't know if you saw my text. Because it didn't look like either one of you gave me credit. I go, we're getting Hampton. Do you see I wrote that to you guys? Did you see it?
I thought you were ahead of us. That's why.
I wasn't.
Yeah, congratulations.
100%. I was not ahead of you. Okay. I'm sorry. I was not. I just said this seems like a Charger thing to do. He's there. Nobody expect him to be there. This seems like a Charger thing to do. And they got Hampton. So
you were so ahead. I'm looking at it. You were just ahead. You didn't call it.
I'm ahead on the TV. Is that what you're telling me? I'm not ahead on the TV. What the hell are you guys talking about? I'm not.
All right.
Dang it, dude. Now you're pissing me off. All right. So here's the go. Here's the deal. I'm gonna ask you your opinion. When you hear it was Hampton, did you like the pick, or did you say, "I wish they would have gone in another direction"?
I like the pick. I think most Charger fans like the pick. I don't think you should shame the Chargers for drafting Omarion Hampton if you wanted Matthew Golden. I think they were both big needs for this team. The Chargers have drafted so many receivers in the first and second round. I mean, they already got Quentin Johnston and Lad McConkey. I'm cool with it, man. I do not believe that Najee Harris is an every down back, especially at this point in his career. He's a highly productive running back that can not only help you in the running game, Mario, but he can help you in the passing game. He's a bigger back. He's consistent. He hits the ground hard. He hits those holes hard. The Chargers need somebody like that. I think he's going to be a great compliment to Najee Harris.
So my biggest fear was that he was going to be in the AFC West and we have to face him twice a year as a Denver Bronco. And I thought this guy's going to just whoop our ass and it's going to hurt because he was in Tar Heel uniform and I loved him. Now that he is a Charger and he's going to put on that beautiful Carolina blue one more time, now it's Charger blue. Guys, I love this pick. I really, really do. It's very hardball. Last year we go the O-line. This year we go, look, we did the 1-year rentals at running back. Now let's go get the real things. We get Najee Harris. Then we draft Omarion Hampton. Greg Roman, this is everything he's ever dreamed for, man. This is his wet dream. Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris, that's who it was. It wasn't two gorgeous women. It was those guys. He's a tremendous football player. Only 2 drops in passing at UNC. Only 1 fumble last year. Takes care of the football. 30 touchdowns in the past 2 seasons. 3rd in all of college football in missed tackles. This guy is a freaking animal. It's respectfully. I mean, that is a great thing. He's awesome. I love watching him playing. I think this offense is automatically, Dave, I think a top 5 rushing offense in the NFL with these 2 guys now in our backfield.
Agree. I mean, and they're building the lineup, right? The line's getting stronger all the way through. What seems interesting to me is this team, this franchise, there's very little to support Justin Herbert, meaning like getting him weapons. Okay. And I'm fine with Hampton. This is not a shot at Hampton, but there are so many holes on this team on both sides of the ball where you have a star quarterback considered a top 5 quarterback possibly in this league that you don't get him weapons to throw the ball to. I mean, I understand by you having running backs the way you have now in Hampton and Harris and you know, JK, we'll see you later. Gus, obviously, see you later. It's a whole different group back there, and you're going to see Hampton, obviously, as a Charger for many years. We should. That's fine. But if I'm Justin Herbert, I'm like, guys, I throw the ball. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I can be a guy. This is not Kenny Pickett back here. But the way they set things up are they got a quarterback that can't, you know, do the things through there. And this is supposed to be, you know, a passing league first now, even though we saw the running game come back in 2024. The Chargers are doing everything they can to basically control mistakes and turnovers. And that's the plan. I mean, we said it a year ago. If you're looking for really exciting football, Charger football is not the way to go. If you're looking for wins, Charger football could be the way to go. And they had 11 of them last year. But as far as when you talk about great highlights and the greatest show on turf, like they used to talk about the old St. Louis Rams, this is not this Charger team. At the same time, we want to win football games. We want to win a championship. And they're going to build through the draft, I think, through the offensive line to help this running game even more. But obviously, you control the clock, you control turnovers, and you control basically your chance to win at the end by saying, we plan on having a lead and we're going to run the clock out. And when you prepare for the Chargers, it's going to be different than preparing for them over most of the teams you're going to face in the league, because this is a run team first. And that's the way they've set up, is to be a run team first through last year's draft and this year's draft. And look, this offensive line still needs a little bit more help.
I'm going to push back on you a little bit. I absolutely think Omarion Hampton is a weapon for Justin Herbert. As Mario just alluded to, he can catch. He has very good hands coming out of the backfield. That's something the Chargers haven't had in a while. My favorite Charger days is when you had a guy like LT. I know we don't have LT on the roster, but you also had Darren Sproles, and LT could catch, obviously, as well. I think he brings a different dynamic to this Chargers offense that they greatly need. I really like what the Chargers did. The more I think about it, this is a great pick. There's a lot of guys in this draft that have 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round grades that play tight end and offensive line. So I can almost guarantee you the Chargers are going to go offensive line or tight end with these next few picks, because that's what they need. There's not many Omarion Hamptons in the draft. In fact, Daniel Jeremiah, a guy that I believe is pretty good at his job, had Omarion Hampton as the 13th best player in the entire draft. He had Matthew Golden, the 14th best player in the entire draft. They obviously go back to back. I really like this pick. Omarion Hampton is a Jim Harbaugh guy to me as well because he doesn't cut a lot. Mario can tell you that as a guy that watches a lot of UNC football. He is straightforward. Some would say it's a weakness. You could call it a strength as well, that he's not going to be a guy that dances around in the backfield. I really like the pick, Mario. I think this is something the Chargers can work with for years to come. I know we want to keep everything on the Chargers, Mario. Do you think it's kind of interesting that the Raiders and the Chargers take the two top running backs in this draft? And when you hear guys talk about Genty and Hampton, they say it's 1, 2, then there's a significant gap, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, there is a big gap, and that's what everyone's kind of talked about throughout the draft process. They're like, Genty's very clearly 1, but he's like a 1A, and Hampton's a 1B. I think the difference is look, Genty's going to be very hard to stop in the NFL, and he's going to be an insanely great player. I don't think that pick makes sense for the Raiders. You're not in a win now mode. A win now mode team gets Genty and it's Super Bowl. But I think the Raiders, you go, congratulations, you have Genty, and you're going to be 500 for the next 4 years. Congratulations. And then he's going to go to a different team and maybe win a Super Bowl like Saquon Barkley. Versus this situation where Hampton comes into it and goes, you have a run first coordinator and Greg Roman, and you have a team that is ready to take that next step and to compete with the best teams. Because what have the Chargers not done the past 2 seasons? Beating the playoff teams. This guy can help you do that, right? And I know there's still stuff to fix in the passing game. I think they still can do that. There's these 2 Iowa State receivers, guys, that every time we talk to a draft guy leading up to this process, they go, watch out for these guys in later rounds. They are going to be sneaky good and they're sneaky talents, and they're both going to be on the board the next 2 days. So let's see if the Chargers do it. But Dave, I love this just for, remember how last year, the first 3 weeks of the year, it was like the Chargers run game is back, and then we quickly abandoned it. I'm just excited for, Harbaugh talked about, imagine Herbert with the run game. We're going to have that now. They're not going to abandon it. It's going to be established, and it's going to be well ran, and we're going to be able to lean on it throughout the year, and we're going to be able to take the will out of teams, and that's going to be huge.
Hope you guys are right on this. Okay, so look, when you mentioned some of the weapons they've had in the past, Josh, when you talk about, Tomlinson or Sproles, that was great. But also you had guys on the team that basically stretched the defense back. I mean, there was a threat when you had a Gates or you had a Vincent Jackson or you had guys in the past. They need obviously guys that can help out. They got to find that tight end, and I hope they're able to find that tight end. As I said, there are more tight ends available than running backs available that can do the job. By the way, I do like the Raiders pick, Mario. Not saying it's going to help them win games. There's not one player the Raiders could have drafted that would help them win games this year. But what it does is it gives you jersey sales and it gives someone to be excited about. The Chargers already have that. Where number one, they have a winning team. If you're the Raiders, you hired an old coach. You hired a guy, just an old man. You just hired an old man. So, I mean, the chances of Pete Carroll winning inside that division in the near future isn't very likely. I saw someone wrote in the comments, are you upset that the Chargers didn't get their tight end in the first day, meaning Loveland or Warren? Yeah, I was. I was hoping one of those guys. At the same time, I'm fine with the Chargers not trading up. I mean, we saw a couple trades. We go, wow, they gave up a lot. I think the Chargers did the right thing. They got, again, a top player, a player that I don't think many people thought were going to fall to number 22. So they did an outstanding job by just staying pat and grabbing, again, I believe, Josh, like you said, the best player available. And that works out well for them. But for the Chargers and what Ortiz is doing, he doesn't panic. And I think that's important to be a GM, that you don't panic and you don't sell your organization out. The Giants had to panic today. I mean, when they sat there and they made the move for Jackson Dart, it was not only a move for a quarterback where a lot of people weren't surprised, but it was a different quarterback than many people thought, especially with all the criticism that Jackson Dart had one quality win against a solid team. That being said, when you look at this team that the Chargers share a city with, how about Les Snead? I mean, dude, he ends up with 2 number 1 picks next year, and he is doing an amazing job. So I think Ortiz, who doesn't have the reputation yet because he just got here, I think that both LA teams have very strong GMs. I mean, I think that the hiring process of bringing in Harbaugh and Ortiz to this organization are honestly going to look back at in 10 years ago. Those were 2 of the best moves this organization's ever made.
I agree with you on that. I think the Rams and the Chargers ran very well. And Joe Ortiz staying put with the 22nd pick was really big for me as well, because I feel like teams, Mario, that are weaker organizations are the ones that jump for those picks, right? They move up and then they lose out on the first round pick for the next year, like the Falcons did. That to me was wild. They moved up to take James Pierce, their second first round pick, and they get rid of their first round pick for 2026. Like, damn, that's a hell of a move. People were saying also during the draft that the Chargers were missing out on the best players available with Colston Loveland and Kenneth Grant and Tyler Warren, Tyler Booker as well. I didn't really look at it that way. When these guys are getting drafted, I'm thinking Omarion Hampton's still there. He's still available. I was thinking they're either going to go Omarion Hampton, Matthew Golden, or Will Johnson, and then they go Hampton. I was not surprised at all. I really like how Joe Ortiz went best player available for a position of need. I don't think running back is the biggest position of need, but when you hear so many people talk about Omarion Hampton, some people even had him as a top 10 player in the draft. I don't think you could pass up on a guy like that. And I really love the patience the Chargers have shown in their 2 years here.
I'm with you. And I think too, when it came to the Chargers pick, kind of some curveballs were thrown at them, right? Broncos don't go running back. That's something like everyone expected. Steelers have Shador and Dart there. They take neither option. So that's kind of surprising. Bucks take the Ohio State wideout. That if I knew how to say his name, I'd be a genius, but hate to break it to you. SAT was a tough one. Seahawks take Zabel. You know, Tyler Warren falls to the Colts. Like, things happen where, like, you know, you just didn't see it coming. And I think sometimes, he has mentioned, teams kind of pivot, go, all right, should we just trade back? Because everyone we wanted is not really here right now. Maybe there's, you know, a team that's desperate for a QB or so on that we can get some capital later on and move that way. I like the way that Joe stayed there, one. When they kind of went the clock all the way down, though, to the 10 minutes, I'm not going to lie, Dave, I was freaking out a little bit. I go, do we have a room full of tweakers in there? Like, is Jim Harbaugh, did he spill his glass of milk? What's going on? Like, you know, what decision are we going to make here? But I think they made the smartest play in getting the best player available. I'm happy they took Hampton over Golden too. All they said was Matthew Golden is a certified 2 receiver. And, you know, I think Chargers, I don't think it would have been worth it to take him there. And if you have a running back that's running back 1 and can be for, you know, a little bit, that's pretty huge, especially in our offense that we run.
So, you know, real quick about Matthew Golden. He's, I understand, you know, he was rumored to go as high as to the Cowboys at number 12. Look, we talked about this being a very physical league. We talked about Lad McConkey a lot last year about, hey, how many hits can this guy take? Dude, Matthew Golden looked really small, right? When he came out tonight, he looked really small. And number one, man, I'm not going to do a rant, but my big complaint tonight, holy cow, man, how far was that walk from where those guys are sitting in the green room to the stage? I mean, did they walk from Chicago? It was insane how long it took for those guys to get there. It was unbelievable. And Golden looked like he was going to pass out. How many deep breaths did he have to take? You know, and what is the deal with everyone in the sunglasses? Like, man, it's like 10:30 at night there. What are we? what are
and it's like cold.
Yeah, and people were freezing their asses off. You see Schefter with the hood, the whole deal. But I'm happy it wasn't Golden. I'll be honest with you. What I saw of Golden, what I thought, and then when I watched him, and I was like, man, we already worried about Ladd. Now we'd have to worry about both those guys getting hurt. You know, that he just really small guy. And the fact, as you said, people say he's an always going to be at best a number 2 is not what this organization needs. We're looking for a 1 to make Ladd that much better. And I'm fine with it. I think when, you know, draft grades, whatever you want to say about them, they're going to look back at it. And I think nationally, people are going to say that the Chargers got to steal.
Absolutely. I think it's definitely the way it's going to shake out. Later on, we got a star chat here from Nate, $2. He said, what's your legit thoughts on the pick? Was it right? It was the right pick. Best player available. I think that's Joe Ortiz's mantra from day one, right? We're going to take the best player available, and he did just that. I'm really excited. I think they've nailed the draft 2 years in a row. Joe Alt was a great pick, even though Brock Bowers is great too. Joe Alt's a very good player, great player. And I think Omarion Hampton is going to be one of the best running backs in the NFL very soon. I'm very happy about this. I thought he was going to go to the Bears. Honestly, Mario, if he didn't go to the Bears, I thought he was going to go to the Cowboys, and then he falls to 22. Amazing job by Joe Ortiz.
And it just fits their system and it fits their way. That's what I love most about it. Like it made sense in the moment. It makes sense now. It's gonna make sense when we hit the season. And that's the perfection of it. There's nothing I hate more than when a team kind of gets in a spot and they draft someone like that, it just doesn't feel right. Like that's not really a move like you guys would make, or like that player doesn't really fit the scheme that you run. Why are you doing this? That you're kind of setting that guy up for failure too, or you're gonna make him do something that he's not really comfortable doing. So yeah, it was the right pick. I was surprised too. You mentioned Hampton going to Chicago. The Jags, really gave the bird to Chicago with trading up with Cleveland. Because if they didn't do that, I think Chicago would have thrown them the house to get that 5th pick so they can get Genty. But the fact that they said Chicago, Italian beef sucks. No one likes the Windy City. We're gonna go up there. We're gonna get Travis Hunter. That's crazy to me. I thought the Browns could also trade back twice in that, Dave.
Yeah, Travis Hunter is an interesting guy, right? I mean, Travis Hunter coming out of high school was the #1 high school player in the nation. Then he goes to Jackson State. I mean, goes to a really, goes to play with Deion Sanders, right? With the same school where Walter Payton was at. Then he transfers to Colorado. So he had opportunities to play at any school he wanted to with big names and big coverage. And I understand he won a Heisman Trophy and he's an outstanding athlete in 2 positions on both sides of the ball. But then he goes to the worst organization when it comes to publicity, and that's Jacksonville. I mean, Travis Hunter is completely not embraced by the limelight for sure. And I like not saying Cleveland's the place to be, but at least Cleveland's known for a long history and passionate fans. Jacksonville is where you go to disappear. I mean, you couldn't go to a worse organization than Jacksonville. It's just
that
kind of the way it worked
sucks,
out.
by the way, too.
City sucks. The owner always plays too many games in Europe. And it can't be fun being a Jacksonville Jag.
No, being in Jacksonville Jag sounds like the worst thing in the NFL. Looking forward to day 2, though. We have the next comment here is from Elliot Felix. He says, $4.99. Give us your day 2 mock for the Chargers, boys. I'm going to go right here with the receiver. I'm going to go Jaden Higgins from Iowa State. Big player. He's from Miami. We know how these receivers from Miami turn out a lot of the time. 6'4", 215. I think this makes a lot of sense. I think it might even make more sense than Matthew Golden just because of the disparity in height between him and Ladd McConkey. Huge production last year, 87 catches, 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. And like I said, 6'4", 215. I think that could fill a hole that this Charger team has, having a guy that goes up and gets the ball, somebody like Mike Williams. Even though Mike Williams on the team, he's not the same player he used to be. Do you have a prediction, Mario, for the second round?
I'm a sucker for any receiver that played basketball, by the way. Anytime I hear that, I don't know why. It's always like, oh, that guy's going to be a stud because he's going to attack the football because he attacked the rebounds all, growing up and through high school. So I'm a huge, huge sucker for that. I don't know how quickly he will get taken in the second round. I think probably pretty quickly, but they'd have to trade up. Scumbag, allegedly. But Mike Green, if you find a way to trade up and get him, listen, I know off the field stuff, he's not the best character, but that guy, the Athletic ranked him 10th best prospect, and he's in the second round. You tell me Harbaugh can't fix him a little bit? I know he's had off-the-field issues, guys, but that was a minute ago. Maybe he's a changed guy. We need an edge rusher. Mac's not going to be incredible forever. Tooley needs some help. Our D tackles, we lost Poona Ford. Just saying. Dave.
They won't do it. I think Dean's away from all those guys. I don't think it's in the Chargers. That's not what the Chargers are going to do. I don't think that's what Harbaugh is going to do. I think character matters. I don't see it. I'd be really surprised. Call me crazy. Here's the deal. It would not surprise me if they end up with Mason Taylor tied into LSU, Joy Taylor's nephew. Would not surprise me at all.
Would love that, by the way. Oh my God. Sorry, but that was aggressive.
Which part?
Freaking love that. Mason Taylor. Yeah, that's going to be a fun edit.
Okay.
Mason Taylor. That would be a huge one.
Yeah, his dad's also Jason Taylor, the NFL Hall of Famer. That part, too. All right, Mario. It's late for Mario over in Washington, D.C.
Mario told me before we started because I just got done working 12 straight hours, and he had a bad day at work.
Well, now you had a great night because we got Omarion Hampton.
Great night. Absolutely.
Nate B, $2 says Jaden Higgins is the guy worth a trade up tomorrow. A trade up, huh? Yeah, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it. Wes Beginson, $4.99 says, do y'all think they get another weapon for Herbert, or do you think they get help for Khalil Mack on defense? Literally just what Mario and I said. I agree with Dave. I think they don't trade up for Mike Green. I think he might even be available at their pick, Mario, because of the off the field issues. If you're talking about pure talent, probably a top 15 guy in the whole draft, right? First round grade for sure. But since he's had those off the field issues twice, I don't think the Chargers get him. The Chargers just don't do that.
You know, a player that I had in the first round was Luther Burden III. He's available, wide receiver, Missouri as well. I mean, do you think they go? If you had a guess, they're going offense, they're going defense.
I think they're going to go tight end, I think they're going to go tight end in the second round. Would be my guess. I don't think Burden's going to be available when the Chargers pick comes around.
I don't think so either. But tight end feels like the safest spot, just because one, it's such a deep class, and they can kind of wait around and maybe they don't have to trade up for it. But the Luther Burden call is a very interesting one. And also, I thought for a second it could happen, but Will Johnson falling.
Yeah,
I know that he's hurt. That's the bad part. But if he's healthy, he's the best corner. And that's what they all said. If he's healthy, he's the best corner in the draft. But he's got to be healthy. He's a Michigan guy, so we'll see.
Yeah, interesting there, because they said again he was everybody was scared away by his medicals, but that kind of stinks, right? Before you even enter the league, that they're saying you're washed. I mean, too big of a gamble to take in the first round, but the best corner in the league kind of makes you a little bit nervous. Your will to be great could be there, but if your body's not going to hold up, it's a huge gamble when you're talking the first round. I mean, when you think about all the guys who didn't get drafted today that thought they were going to be a first round pick, he has to be the one most in shock right now. He has to be.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean,
he had to be thinking I could be going like 9 or 10 in the draft, and you don't get drafted. If he falls to the Chargers, by the way, you have to draft him, right? You have to draft him. You can't pass up on him. I don't know how you do.
Agree.
Potentially the best corner in the draft, and he falls in your lap at the second round. Yeah,
it's not an area of it's not an area of need, but it's like, I mean,
it wouldn't hurt. I mean, the Chargers could use another corner.
You can never have too many corners. You can never have too many.
And we don't have the best corners in the league, and we have good corners. We don't have great corners. Isaac Harrison, he says, would you trade in the second to get Burden like we did with Ladd? Would you? Dave, you're high on him. Would you trade up for him? Would you give up a pick?
I trust Joe Ortiz because it worked last year, right? When they did it, I was against it last year. I couldn't have been more wrong. I was the one telling you that I watched a ton of SEC football and saw Brock Bowers play and how impressed I was with him. And Ladd didn't stand out to me like they saw. And so if they trust it and it's worth the trade up, I 100% would do it. I believe they know what they're doing in this front office. In years past, I would disagree with almost everything that, the Chargers did with their front office, and many teams do. I mean, when I talk about solid GMs, I think most people think about what the Eagles do, what the Ravens do, what the Rams do, and then everyone else kind of laughs at everyone else for dropping the ball. But this group of guys has gotten off to a fantastic start.
100% agree with Dave. If they trade up, they're 100% sure he's the guy. So if they do that, I believe in it. Definitely.
The only thing that worries me with Burden is he only 10 catches of 20 yards or more in 2024. That kind of worries me because we need a deep threat very badly. But his yak is insane. I mean, that guy can catch it and turn anything into something. So that's where an area we really, really need, because as great as Ladd is, and we all love him, but you put your hand on him, buddy's going down. And Keenan Allen was also the king of, I catch the football very, very well, but as soon as I catch it, I'm gonna dive to the floor. So we really need some more yak, and he could really help us in that department, because we can't just rely on Quentin Johnston. And we're gonna pray for a resurgence of Mike Williams. Keep praying. God's not that great. Run.
Good God.
Stay off that one.
Travis Garner, 199 says, who do y'all want day 2? Jaden Higgins, receiver, Iowa State. Most realistic, Mason Taylor, tight end.
And they pick at 55. That's where they're going to pick tomorrow. So, it's exciting. Browns have the first pick, by the way, in first pick of the second round. And it's exciting. This is a great weekend. If you're an NFL fan, this is a great weekend, especially. And it sounds like, I don't know Joe Ortiz, but right now I'm a fan. He hasn't done anything right now to put me in a position where I go, I'm not a fan of this guy. By the way, the Browns pick at 33 and again at 36, and they can get better in a hurry too. If you're wondering, where the Raiders are at, they're number 37. So you're a fan of the Chargers and you're interested to see what's going on in the AFC West. You're going to want to pay attention early tomorrow as we get ready for round 2. But Chargers could make a move. Wouldn't surprise me. Again, 55 might seem a little deep. They'll get a quality player at 55. But as I see people writing that the Chargers have some extra comp picks in there and gives them the capability or the ability to move up, which is fantastic. I think it's going to be Friday is going to be a great day. I think you're going to see guys taking it. You're going to go, the Chargers have had that guy on this team for 4 or 5 years, and it's going to be guys that are going to get in day 2.
Can I ask you guys a question? Because I'm gonna put the comment up. Actually, we'll go to this one and then we'll go to the next one because it's related.
Alex Corona 499 says, I'm okay with passing on a receiver. I still have hope for QJ and Ladd is a dog. We got our long-term running back tonight, boys. Bolt up. Big win. I think as a Charger fan, you have to be ecstatic.
Big win. All right, this one, Nate B, one more. Sanders falling in comedy / not surprising. Do you guys think Cleveland takes him tomorrow with 33rd pick?
Yes.
Wouldn't surprise me if Cleveland or the Raiders take him. He's going to be taken, I think, early tomorrow. Him not going in the first round today was a shock to some. I think he knew. I think his dad knew as well. There's a reason why he wasn't in Green Bay tonight. I think they knew all along why they stayed home. I mean, and Dion knows enough people in the NFL to say, don't embarrass my family. Help me out. It's the only thing that makes sense because that family is all about, the cameras and obviously the pictures and anything you can do to get out in front and show, hey, we're Sanders family. Then one of the more interesting things, we never talk about it with Shedeur, he's only had one coach his entire life. How coachable is he? What kind of player is he when someone else is giving him direction? We spoke last week about, hey, if Dion doesn't like what's happening with Shedeur, you're going to hear Dion in front of cameras and media being very critical of an NFL organization, their coach, and why his son's not getting an opportunity. But I honestly believe it's the reason why the Giants chose Dart over him is because you have a coach already who's on the hot seat, and we don't need the extra attention of Dion. So Shedeur going to Cleveland, I think, isn't a bad fit, which is really funny because they said Shedeur bombed that interview in Cleveland on purpose because Dion didn't want him going to the Browns. Now he's in a situation where, hey, somebody just take my son.
Yeah.
He has a lot of chances here too, Josh. Like Browns at 33, then he has Las Vegas at 37, and then he has the Saints at 40. Jets at 42 if you really want to get dicey.
He could go to the Raiders. If the Raiders pass on him and Tom Brady are not boys, confirmed.
Yeah, the relationship's over.
I thought he was for sure Pittsburgh, by the way. I thought when he kept falling, I was like, they're gonna smile because they go, Tomlin's calling us home.
I thought so too. I thought he was going to go to the Steelers.
I was happy he did not go to the Steelers.
I think he would be really good at
everyone said it was automatic.
Yeah.
No, not me. I didn't pick him. I don't think. Do you guys pick him? I didn't pick him to the Steelers.
I can't remember.
Nah. Okay. Maybe I did. I don't remember.
Permission to put nuts on the table?
What?
Go.
Just I did call under 2.5 quarterbacks first round.
Did you bet it?
Yes, sir. God, did that feel good?
Did you get nervous when the Giants traded up for Jackson Dart?
I knew if I made it through Pittsburgh, I'd be fine. Because I only wanted her to be taken. I was surprised they chose Dart over Sanders. I was really surprised. I wouldn't have done that. But I work here.
Yeah.
A couple of surprising things. My final thoughts, besides Omarion Hampton, I love the pick. Teams doubling down on positions, right? So you have the Falcons take 2 edge rushers in the first round, and then you have the Broncos take a corner when you have PS2, the best corner in the league, on the other side. They're saying, if we can lock this down right here, we don't need other players on our defense, I guess, because the Broncos already have one of the top defenses in the league. I thought it was almost a lock that the Broncos are going to get Matthew Golden or Omarion Hampton. I'm so happy they didn't.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to allow 150 passing yards per game. That's a goal. That's what I felt like that pick was, you know?
It was surprising to me. It was one of the more surprising
Very,
picks.
yeah. And like Sean Payton too. Like you'd think Sean would go, I want to get this offense to be the most high-powered thing you've ever freaking seen.
Yeah, considering they only have Cortland Sutton for the most part. Dave, what's your final thoughts before we get out of here?
All right. Again, I'm a fan of what the front office is doing, so I'm not going to be real critical. I want to see how this thing plays out throughout the weekend. And of course, we're going to have our recap show will be on Tuesday of next week, 1 o'clock Pacific time, to get our thoughts, our grades, what everyone else did in the AFC. I saw this release during the draft, and it was how often each franchise drafts an NFL Hall of Famer. Okay.
Ooh.
Which franchise do you think drafts a Hall of Famer most often? Meaning how many years in between?
I'd go Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh's number 2, 5.12 years.
I'll go
Niners?
I'll go Niners, yeah.
It's Niners are every 6.7 years. The Raiders are number 1, believe it or not, 5.06 years. Okay. The worst is the Panthers, every 31 years, but the Panthers are a relatively new organization. I think they started in 95. But anyway, maybe laugh that the Panthers are every 31 years.
They have like 3 at the top of my head. Steve Smith, Kuechly, Cam.
Well, they aren't in the Hall of Fame yet.
True. I'm sorry.
That's why it says that in there. Okay, so the Chargers are every 13.2 years is what it says. The Chargers draft a Hall of Famer. Now I believe, okay, and again, I always say it all the time. I wish they would have taken Bowers, but I think Joe Alt's going to be a Hall of Famer. I think when it's all said and done, he's going to be one of those guys that plays 14 to 16 years and ends up in the Hall of Fame one day. I think that was a fantastic pick. You know, we hope he stays healthy, but I think that was a great pick. I can't say if they drafted a Hall of Famer tonight. I haven't seen Hampton even play, but I see what Joe Alt does from going from left tackle to right tackle, and you know all the criticism we gave him. I think that was a fantastic pick and one of those guys you're going to look at for years. We're looking at the 2013 first round draft. The 3 of us were today, and Lane Johnson's like the only player that did anything in the entire first round of that draft, which was crazy. It was the worst draft I've ever seen in my life. Okay,
Kyle Long had a moment.
Okay, we'll stop there. Okay, but he had a moment. He's not a Hall of Famer, right? I mean, that draft was kind of ridiculous. Eric Fisher. I mean, it was ridiculous. Either way.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay, so it won't be a Hall of Famer. My point is we don't know how this thing's going to play out. The whole idea is you put the pieces of the puzzle together to hopefully win a Super Bowl, and that's everybody's goal. I think things are definitely trending in the right direction for this Charger organization, and like you can say whatever you want. Basically, this entire time that the Chargers have been around, from the very beginning when they were in LA for 1 year and then to San Diego and now back to LA, there have been a lot of what the F's. Okay. A lot of people walking in the street kicking invisible cans. And this is where we're at right now, where it feels like you come off an 11-win season when nobody saw that coming, that the Chargers again are making progress. I think on day one, they got the best player available without having to make a trade. And I think you should be happy that you're a Charger fan today and can't wait to see what's going to happen tomorrow.
What a great day. Fantastic day. We got a Raiders comment here. Should I read this? They paid for it.
I was watching Raider fans fight. Yeah, if you read it, they paid for it.
Nah, new rule though. If you're a Raider fan, it's got to be $10 or more. Quick with this broke shit, Death Lord.
Yeah.
Death Lord.
199 says Luther Burden tomorrow 37 and has us sitting pretty. Okay. All right. Good for you guys.
Sick.
I'm not going to say sick. My last thought, Omarion Hampton, what if he has a Jahmyr Gibbs season as a rookie? Just think about it. Could happen.
Think about it.
Could happen.
All right, you're going to buy that jersey? Who wears 28 right now for the Chargers?
Melvin Gordon.
Well, not right now, but he wore 20.
I don't know.
Who's giving up the jersey number? What are we doing here?
I don't know.
All right, just curious.
I don't know either.
I think it was. I think Spiller used to have 28. Am I wrong on that?
I think you're right. Hassan Haskins, I think, is 28. Am I right with that?
Are you looking for it right now before we sign off?
Hassan Haskins is number 28. You think he'll give that up? Anyways, if you guys missed the intro, I'll put it out on Twitter so you guys can see it. Hope Dave liked it. That was a surprise for him. I did
like it.
You guys all liked it. Shout out to Sebi OG, and we will see you guys when we go in next after the draft.
On Tuesday, 1 o'clock Pacific time.
Okay, perfect.
Right, we'll recap the entire draft. All right, good deal. Thanks everyone again for hanging with us tonight. Appreciate it. And we knew you guys were there before the show started, but we said it was 32 picks and then we'd go on. But otherwise, thanks to everyone for waiting around. That was awesome. Mario, get some sleep, dude. You're beat to hell.
Go Heels and go Chargers. And I almost said something really mean, but I'm not going to.
All right, don't hold it in. Hold it in.
Yep.
Save it for off air. All right. For Mario Heron, Josh Pele, I'm Dave Pele. We'll see you Tuesday, 1 o'clock Pacific time. Thanks, everybody.